ago. So again, just so much strength and speed in both the women's 10K and the women's 5K here today.
I mean, you're right to point out Fotjen Tesfaye, because there she has left her picture, Fotjen, on her number. First name's on their number. She won that Berlin half. I was there 3 weeks ago, 63.35. She won by 3.5 minutes. I mean, talk about a dominant performance. So I have her down here in my notes. I've written might push the pace.
Yeah.
I wonder whether or not she will go out here and aggressively and do a bit of an Agnes Nigetic.
Well, Fotjen was third here last year in the 5K behind Medina Isa. So, you know, I do like her. She was 7th at the Olympics in the 10,000 meters. So I think it's going to be a good battle up front.
Yes, she had a strange year last year. Fotjen Tesfaye. There is Medina Isa. She is the pre-race favourite. She's the defending champion, going for the hat-trick here. Tina Beb Dagnor is also out there, just a 19-year-old Ethiopian. There is so much young talent in Ethiopia. It's her first race this year at Dagnor. But Fotjen Tesfaye, well, she won the Olympic trials for the Ethiopians in Nerja in Spain last summer in 29.47. That was a track PB, but then was 7th at the Olympic Games, so she will have been desperately disappointed with that time at the that performance at the Olympic Games. Away they go then. Always nice to see the women start rather than the starter reacting to firing the gun, but we eventually do get them underway. So, 2 athletes here I suspect will dominate. They are super fast. They're both very, very strong at 10K and half marathon. Who's your money on? Asa or Tesfaye?
Oh, I don't know. I think I'm going to go with... See, this is the thing. I can't even hardly do it.
Putting you on the spot unfairly.
I'm going to say Fotjen.
Yeah, Fotjen Tesfaye was very strong and consistent. She had a marvellous 2024. And who's going to take up the early tempo here? Well, this race has just started. We're expecting a winning time of around, I don't know, 14:20, something like that. So they're just settling down in these early stages. One and a half minutes on the clock then, and it is the early stage of this women's 5K. Just looking at these athletes. Lois Chepkwemoi of Uganda, just 18 years old, I think, making her debut on the on 5K over the roads. And Janet Chepngetich, 26-year-old Kenyan at the front at the moment, pushing it along. She too, I think, making her debut. Many of these athletes, the majority of this field, in fact, Carrie, have never run a 5K on the roads before.
Well, there's a number of them that are under 20 years old, so it's pretty amazing. And we see that a lot here at Road to Records, where we see some of the up-and-comers or the U20 champions come here and really get their fresh start of running as a pro or running in these professional races.
Well, they are heading towards the 1 kilometre point here. We're expecting to run just under 3 minutes per kilometre. This pack of what, about 8 athletes in the early stages. Doesn't look like anybody's determined doing an Agnes Nigetic here and kicking on really hard in the early stages. There you can see Janet Chepngetich to the right of picture. Lois Chepkwemoi as well up at the front end. And Medina is there as well. Medina Asa left of the group there. Second place now, Medina. Looks lovely and relaxed. Nice looking athlete, actually moves really well, doesn't she? You know, there's just a lovely sort of fluidity to the way she covers the ground.
Well, and she has such experience here by winning the last 2. She's going for that 3-peat today, and you know, I think that's really a big thing. She was 7th also at the Olympics, but in the 5K this last summer, also 6th at the World Championships in 2023, so she's very good at championship style racing. Today isn't so much about championship style racing. They want to run and chase that clock. But when they're in a big pack like this, that's where they really get into it. And it's kind of nice to see that there's a number of athletes taking them out hard.
Well, they've just come past us here with 3 laps to go. We're right beside the finish line. It was about 3:25 on the clock as they went through. That first kilometre, 3:04. That is on the slow side. It's much slower than we expected. Maybe they're going to warm to the task here. But 3:04 obviously means they're only on 15:20 tempo. And last year, Medina Asa won in 14:38. Wow. So unlike the last 2 races, they've set off here in very, very conservative fashion.
Yeah, I mean, almost a minute slower than last year. And it is beautiful weather out there. A little bit cooler, but I think nice for a 5K.
Well, it is nice weather for a 5K. I don't think the wind's picked up or anything. I'm not quite sure why they've been so tentative in the early running here. Nobody really seemed keen to commit. And Janeth Chepengetic, who leads at the moment, is a 26-year-old, plenty of experience, but I was really expecting Medina Asa to go out harder than this. She was 4th in the World Championships over 5K in Riga back in October 23, the inaugural World Championships. And as mentioning that, so only yesterday, World Athletics announced that there will be no World Road Running Championships this year. It was expected to be in San Diego, but a few weeks ago, unfortunately, San Diego had to pull out. The World Athletics confirmed there will be no Road Running Championships, World Road Running Championships this year. You could almost call today, therefore, the unofficial World Road Running Championships.
Yeah, but looking, at Medina Asa, you were saying that she ran that 29:25 road 5K in February. She split faster than what she's running right here, right now.
Much faster. Don't know if she's had any problems or what. She is very young and inexperienced and maybe lacking confidence. But going for a hat trick here, she won in 14:46 2 years ago. And she too is one of those young athletes that's great on all surfaces. She was silver medalist in the World Junior Cross Country in Bathurst, Australia, a couple of years back. She can do it on the track, she can do it on the roads, and she can do it on the country. But single file now, beginning to develop at the front end carry, and that suggests maybe the pace has picked up a little bit through this second kilometre. We shall see, but that first kilometre, 3:04, really conservative.
Yeah, just kind of seeing where people are at, but now they're starting to attack. You can see that, as you said, as they string out just a little bit of an incline right here as they move around this corner. But really, a lot of people in this front pack that I think you and I both are a little bit interested and a little, we're kind of surprised by.
Well, it's going to be one of those races that will produce negative splits, I'm sure. It'll get quicker and quicker as it goes on. The last kilometre at 2:54, that's more like it. Yep. And 14:56, they're beginning to warm to the task.
Oder Neues heißt wir Sie ganz herzlich willkommen auf dem Zielgeraden. Diese neue Gestalt ist lang Zielgeraden. 100 Meter. Bis zum Ziel.
Janeth Chepengetic, then the 26-year-old, continues to lead. All Africa Games champion over 10,000 last year. And Chepengetic, well, she is a great track racer. 8:23 for 3,000 in Lausanne last summer, 14:45 for 5,000, and is 5th in the Prefontaine 10,000, 30:04. So she has all the qualities carried as a great track racer from 3,000 up to 10,000. She might spring a surprise here, Janeth Chepengetic.
Well, we've seen it here before where some of these athletes are new to the roads and they really use that track pedigree that they have. But as they just came through, the crowds are going crazy, and you can see the athletes' energy almost get a little bit more up on their toes. They really are starting to run now.
They are moving this third kilometre. I'm sure will be quicker still. 3:04 and then 2:54. That's a significant 10-second increase in tempo for the kilometre split as they are in single file. Medina Asa in second place there. 14:23, her best in Barcelona back in December. She's the 4th fastest in history at 5K on the road. The world record is an almost science-fictional 13:54 by Beatrice Chebet. That was in Barcelona just last December. And with the shoe technology moving on and advancements in training, knowledge and practices, records are being broken all the time and new barriers being punched through. And we've already had a world record here this morning from Agnes Nigetic in that 10K, if you joined us in the last few minutes. A women-only world record of 29:27. So Medina Asa, the pre-race favourite, going for a hat-trick of wins here at Road to Records over 5K. In second place, Janeth Chepengetic is in the lead. And Gayla Hambese, the 22-year-old, back in fourth at the moment. Just trying to see who's in third there. It's hard to see.
Is it Fochin?
It is Fochin, yes. Fochin Tesfaye, who was third here last year. She too in fabulous form. She was second in the Valencia half marathon last October in 63:21. She can show that half marathon strength, and I would expect her actually to push pretty hard soon. That third kilometre, 2:58, so 14:54. Wasn't as quick as I expected, that third kilometre, 2:58. 14:54.
So watch that woman in third here, Fatin, as you've been talking about. Third here last year, but she ran that half marathon just a few weeks ago in Berlin in a 63:35, crazy fast. But she also had a really nice 10K in Valencia in January, 29:42. So her credentials are very similar to Medina, and she and Medina right there in second and third.
Well, do you know what? Janeth Chepengetic, she was almost acting like a pacemaker. She's running with real aggression at the front. She has got the credentials to take this race, but it's almost like as a preordained agreement. And I can't see why she would do that when the two favourites are Ethiopians. Medina Asa, the defending champion, Fochin Tesfaye in fabulous form, who is the most experienced of them at 27, Fochin Tesfaye. And third last year. She knows most of this circuit. She looks very relaxed in second place there.
She looks really good, almost biding her time just to wait to touch the front. And Janeth is not giving it up. She really has pressure on to lead this race, not even waving or signaling to have someone help her.
So they come through now with 1 lap to run. It's winding up wonderfully. Janeth Chepengetic has led every step of the way so far. Are things going to change here? Medina Asa, nearest the camera there, the defending champion, looks ever so relaxed, doesn't she? With that little headband, that light headband in her hair. Looks so relaxed. Well, they come past us.
Gayla in fourth looks very smooth as well. She isn't so much up on the shoulder, but she's just been relaxed, waiting to see what happens in front of her.
Well, they have run a cautious race. I mean, there's no world records going to happen this morning. That's quite clear. Not many personal bests either, I suspect, in the way these last 3.5 kilometres have unfolded. So they enter the final lap now. They've got about 4 minutes of hard running to come. So 12 minutes on the clock then in this women's 5K. We're on the final circuit of almost 4 laps here in Herzegovina. Janeth Chepengetic continues to lead the 26-year-old Kenyan. She's had 3 colleagues in close attendance throughout, and now maybe that attendance gets closer than ever. Checking a watch there is the defending champion, Medina Asa, to the right of picture there. To the left of picture, Fochin Tesfaye, the left of this quartet towards the back there. She could be a real danger after third last year and third in the Valencia 10K back in January in 29:42. We know she's in fabulous form after 3 weeks ago, running 63.5 minutes to win the Berlin half marathon by 3.5 minutes. I thought she might take this on, Fochin, and run aggressively and use her strength. But each of these athletes, you have to say, Carrie, in this sort of situation, they must be confident of their kicks.
They must be confident of their kicks, but they have to use this course to their advantage. There's lots of turns here coming up, so they have to be ready to be able to navigate through this pack if they're sitting and kicking like Fochin is right now.
Well, the last couple of turns here on this newly created circuit, which are gentle turns, but Janeth Chepengetic still leads. Medina Asa, right to picture, the defending champion, looking for a hat-trick here after winning last year in 14:38. Today has been considerably slower. They went through 4K in 11:57, that 4th kilometre, a 3:01, so they've run a very, very cagey, cautious, tactical race here. The kilometre split is 3:04, 2:54, 2:58, and then 3:01. There's been no winding up here. This final circuit is what it's all about.
This is what I'm getting nervous. Fotin is on the inside. She's trying to make some moves here, Tim, but Janeth is playing it smart, not letting her get out. But right now, Medina moves to the lead. This might be what Fotin needs to get up to the front.
This is where your leg speed gets tested to the max. It's more like a track race, this one. They've run it very conservatively, and it makes it a bit of a lottery. Medina Asa, the defending champion, hits the front for the first time with about 300 to go. She gestures there to the athlete behind her, to Fortune Tesfaye. I'm not sure what that was all about, but Medina Asa leads. Is she going to get the hat trick here? There's nothing in it. There were 4, there were 3, now we're down to 2. Medina Asa and Fortune Tesfaye right behind her. Who's got the speed? This comes down to raw leg speed over the last 180, and Medina Asa has proven in the last 2 years she has the speed to get the victory. Here she looks like she's going to get the victory again. It is going to be a 3-peat for Medina Asa. The 20-year-old takes the win once again. 14:49 unofficially there for Asa. Well, the others gambled, but Medina Asa was a gambler too, and she was the most successful gambler of the quartet. 3 in a row for Medina Asa. That last kilometre will undoubtedly have been the fastest of the race. The winning time, 14:48. Well, it's not super fast by global standards, but it was wonderfully intense racing there in the latter stages. And still, there's only a handful of women globally who've ever run faster than that. 14:40. Anything under 15 minutes for women's 5K is super quick on the track and on the roads. And 14:48 there for Medina Asa makes it win number 3 for the Ethiopian.